Ever wished you had a superpower? There are whole tribes of people with seemingly superhuman abilities that we can only dream of. Sometimes, these people do not even notice that they are extraordinary until they are pointed out. These tribes have received their superpowers due to various factors, including their diet, climate, genetics, and their lifestyle. So today, I'm going to tell you about 10 tribes with superpowers that you would like to have. 1. The Kalenjin people in Kenya. The Kalenjin people in Kenya are the best long-distance runners in the world. Everyone knows that Kenya has the best marathon runners in the world. What most people do not realize is that most of these runners come from the same tribe. Enter the Kalenjin, the world's best long-distance runners. Several scientists, researchers and sports analysts have tried to explain why the tribe dominated long-distance running. Although their starchy diets, the location of their homeland, and random social and economic factors have been questioned as possible reasons, no one has come to a definitive conclusion. However, it is thought to have something to do with genetics. The Kalenjin people have small ankles and calves, and a slim stature that is just perfect for marathons. Height is important to determining who wins a marathon, because people with smaller ankles and calves use less energy than others. It is even said that one can guess the winner of a marathon by checking which of the participants have the smallest ankles and calves. In addition to being really fast, they are known as the running tribe for their stunning ability to run long distances. 2. Bajau people of Indonesia. Bajau people of Indonesia can keep their breath underwater. The Bajau people hail from the southern Philippines, but have also migrated to Borneo, Indonesia, and Malaysia. The Bajau people are called sea nomads or sea gypsies because of their ability to stay underwater for a few minutes without equipment. The most experienced divers can stay underwater for 13 minutes before returning to the surface to breathe. Cambridge University researchers discovered that the Bajau people can do this because their bodies adapt to diving and their spleen increases by 50%. Before the discovery, researchers had always suspected that the size of our spleen has something to do with our ability to stay underwater. A larger spleen compresses underwater and releases oxygen-rich blood into the body. This reduces oxygen consumption and allows us to stay underwater for longer. In the case of the Bajau people, they have a unique gene that increases the secretion of the thyroid hormone T4, causing larger spleens. 3. The Sherpas people. Climbing Everest or any other mountain would be a daunting task for the average person. But not for the Sherpas. They are experienced climbers with the ability to find previously unknown routes. These days, people who climb Mount Everest always go with Sherpa guides. Research has shown that Sherpas are excellent climbers because their bodies handle oxygen better at higher altitudes than the average person. That should be no surprise. The Sherpas have been living in the Himalayas for more than 6,000 years, which is more than enough time to adapt to the extremely cold temperatures and low oxygen levels. The Sherpas are also immune to the nasty side effects and sometimes fatalities that affect other mountaineers. Oxygen decreases as we climb Mount Everest higher. In response, the body produces more red blood cells to provide the muscles with the required oxygen. At the same time, these excess blood cells make the blood thicker and accentuate the heart. The Sherpas learn the same, but at a much lower rate. That's not all. Their bodies are also able to produce more energy in the absence of oxygen. 4. Moken, the people of Indonesia. Moken, the people of Indonesia, can see underwater. This ability is limited to the people of the Moken in western Thailand. Like the Bajau in Indonesia, the Moken live by the sea and are also known as water nomads. Unlike other children, underwater Mogi children have excellent eyesight. In 1999, Anna Gislin, a researcher from the University of Lund, traveled to Thailand to live with the Moken and study her superpower. She found that her children's eyesight was twice better underwater than their European counterparts. Interestingly, she also observed that adult Moken underwater cannot see so well. Gislin initially suspected that the eyes of the children had evolved. But that was not the case, because it would have affected her eyesight outside of the water. On closer observation, she realized that the children could narrow their pupils and change the shape of the eye lenses, two factors that are necessary for the underwater view. To confirm her theory, Gislin trained some European children in Thailand and Swedish children in Sweden to control their pupils and lenses underwater. A month later, they were able to see as well underwater as the Mogi children. The European children, however, did not find it easy. In contrast to the Mokenkindern, their eyes were always red because of the salty seawater. But, even they would have adapted if the training would continue. A study revealed that the Moken children can change the shape of the lenses in their eyes, just like dolphins and seals. The ability can be learned with some training, although adults cannot adapt, since lenses become rigid in adulthood. 5. Seamane people from Bolivia. Seamane people from Bolivia are almost immune to heart disease. The Seamane people of Bolivia have the lowest risk of heart disease in the world. Between 2004 and 2015, researchers tested hundreds of tribesmen and discovered that 90% had clear arteries, which is directly related to a lower likelihood of heart disease. At the same time, they have lower blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar. Researchers have attributed this uniqueness to the diet and lifestyle of Seamane. They eat unprocessed carbohydrates along with little fat and protein. They get their protein from the animals they hunt and the fish they catch. They are also very active and work long hours. 6. Some of the forerunners of Papua New Guinea. Some of the forerunners of Papua New Guinea are immune to kuru and mad cow disease. Kuru is the name of a deadly brain disease that broke out in the 20th century among members of the Papua New Guinea 4 tribe. It was the result of tribesmen eating the brains of their dead as part of their burial rituals. Some of the spent brains were infected with prion disease, causing kuru. The majority of deaths occurred in the 1950s, forcing the tribesmen to abandon tradition. At that time, 2% of the tribesmen died each year. Today, several tribesmen are immune to kuru, and will not get it even if they eat the dead man's infected brain. They are also immune to similar diseases, including mad cow disease. This protection has been attributed to the unique genetic mutation, V127, present in the bodies of kuru survivors. Descendants of tribesmen who never had kuru do not have the mutation or immunity to kuru and mad cow disease. To test their theory, researchers used genetic engineers to develop some mice with the mutation, before they injected the animals with the various brain disorders. They found that the mice were immune to kuru, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, and the variant of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, depending on whether the animals had 1 or 2 copies of the V127 mutation. As for the 4 people, researchers believe that they would all have become immune to kuru and similar brain diseases if they continued to eat the brains of their dead. 7. Some native Ecuadorians. Some native Ecuadorians of Laron syndrome are immune to cancer and diabetes. Laron syndrome is a disease that causes mutation in human growth hormone receptor, which leads to dwarfism. It is common among members of a tribe in a remote village in Ecuador. Nobody thought much about the syndrome until Dr. Jaime Guevara Aguirre, who had worked with the tribe, recognized that tribesmen with the syndrome were almost immune to diabetes and cancer. In contrast, tribesmen without the syndrome were very susceptible to cancer and diabetes. To confirm his suspicion, Guevara Aguirre worked with Dr. Ing. Walter D. Longo from the University of Southern California to perform laboratory tests on serum from genes of Laron patients. The researchers added serum to human cells that had been deliberately damaged. They discovered that the serum prevented these cells from suffering more genetic damage. At the same time, these cells destroyed themselves instead of becoming cancerous. 8. Some Australian Aborigines. Some have vision 4 times better than the average person. This allows them to see things that are 4 times smaller than what the average person can see. Some Australian Aborigines have excellent visibility. Other Australian Aborigines do not have such great eyesight, though they can see 2 or 3 times better than the average person. Some Aborigines work as scouts for the Australian Army, because they can detect enemies over extremely long distances. They are also used to detect illegal immigrant boats and illegal fishing boats in Australian waters. Scientists believe the ability to see better at extremely long distances may have been passed on from the time the Aboriginals were hunter-gatherers. Unfortunately, Australian Aborigines do not always have their remarkable eyesight into old age. Due to several factors, including poor hygiene and diabetes, natives over 40 are 6 times blinder than other Australians. 9. The Hmong people of China. The Hmong people of China can communicate by whistling. Whistling is not exclusive to the Hmong people of China. Several tribes around the world have independently learned to communicate via pipes. However, they are mostly in mountainous regions where people live far apart. The Hmong live at the foot of the Himalayas. Hmong farmers whistle on farms as they hunt in the jungle and send love messages at night. Everyone understands what the lovers say, but they do not recognize people, because a whistle cannot be individually identified as a voice. This allows the lovers to remain anonymous while forwarding messages. Some even add meaningless pipes to confuse the audience. A tribe in one of the Canary Islands also communicates by whistling. Their whistling language is called Silbo Gomero, and sounds much like bird chirping that some birds imitated. Some tribes in the Amazon use whistles to communicate in the jungle while hunting. This is safer than speaking, because whistling does not scare the game. The Inuit communities of the Bering Strait also use whistling to communicate during whaling. Whistling was even used in warfare. The Berbers of North Africa used it to convey secret messages during their resistance to France. During the Second World War, Australia commissioned WAM spokespersons from Papua New Guinea to transmit and decode pipes to prevent the Japanese from listening to radio messages. 10. The Okinawians of Japan. The Okinawians of Japan live the longest. Are you looking for the oldest living human being? Look no further than the natives of Okinawa, Japan. They will probably be 100 years older than the members of another tribe in the world. Okinawa boasts having the largest concentration of centenarians in the world. Scientists believe it has something to do with their diet, which is rich in sweet potatoes, soy, tofu, vegetables, octopus, fish, squid and whole grains. They might not possess adamantium claws, but, at least the Okinawans can boast of a longer life. So, you already understand why these tribes have such superpowers. It is mainly caused by their diet, environmental factors as well as genetic factors. So, do you have superpowers like this? Then don't forget to comment below about your abilities and superpowers as well.